The auction block on Caro's Prime was an ugly place, even by frontier standards. Chains clanked, buyers muttered, and the stench of fear lingered thicker than the smoke from the vendor stalls outside. Beings of a dozen species crowded the tiered benches, eager to bid for strong backs and nimble hands. The auctioneer, a thick-jawed Bernari with golden tusks, bellowed prices as the slaves were dragged out one by one. Lot 42. Zalari female, healthy, strong, starting bid at 200 credits. A chorus of voices rose. 250. 300. 350. The gavel slammed. Sold. One after another, the slaves were sold. Each name became a number. Each number became a profit. And then came the last. The crowd grew restless as the handlers shoved forward a figure with a limp. His chains clattered as he stumbled. The slave was a young male of the Archini species, normally proud and fierce. But this one was broken. His right arm hung useless at his side, bound in a crude sling. His left eye was milky with blindness. His ribs showed under gray skin. The auctioneer sneered. Lot 51. Male Archini. Labor stock defective. Injuries permanent. Worthless for combat, mining, or pleasure. Will start at 50 credits. Silence. The crowd shifted, but no one spoke. 40, the auctioneer pressed. Still nothing. 20. A dry laugh echoed from the benches. You have to pay me to take him. The Archini lowered his head. Shame and despair wrapped around him like chains thicker than the ones on his wrists. He had known this moment was coming. No one wanted the broken. He would be thrown into the pits, left to starve, discarded like trash. The auctioneer grunted in disgust. Very well. Lot 51. I'll take him. The voice cut across the silence. Every head turned. At the back of the hall, standing with his arms crossed, was a human. He was tall, dressed in worn spacer's gear, a stubble of beard shadowing his jaw. His eyes were sharp, but there was no cruelty in them. The auctioneer blinked. You want this one? Yes. The human's tone was calm, steady. How much? The Bernari hesitated. He's damaged. Useless. Not worth. Didn't ask that. I asked the price. Murmurs rippled through the hall. Humans were rare in this sector. Stranger still, one wasting credits on a broken slave. The auctioneer grumbled. Fine. 10 credits. Barely worth the paperwork. Done. The gavel slammed. And just like that, the worthless was sold. The Archini did not speak as the chains were struck from his wrists. He simply followed the human out of the hall, too numb to resist. At the edge of the docking bay, the human finally turned. What's your name? The slave stared at the ground. They call me nothing. I am broken. The human frowned. That's not what I asked. What's your name? Silence stretched. Then, in a voice hoarse with disuse, Kalen. The human nodded. I'm Marcus Hale. Welcome aboard my ship. Kalen flinched. I am not worthy of a place. Marcus's gaze hardened. Listen to me. Out there, in that pit, you were cargo. Here, you're a person. Don't forget it. Kalen didn't understand. He only lowered his head and followed Marcus into the freighter Odyssey's Grace. Life aboard the Grace was not what Kalen expected. There were no whips. No endless labor. No masters demanding service. Instead, Marcus gave him a bunk, a blanket, and a meal. The food was simple, stew thick with roots and grains, but to Kalen, starved and broken, it tasted like heaven. You'll need time to heal, Marcus said, sliding him a second bowl. Don't worry about work until then. Kalen stared at him, suspicion flickering. Why did you buy me? Marcus leaned back, folding his arms. Because no one else would. That makes no sense. Doesn't have to. Sometimes the right thing isn't logical. Kalen fell silent. He didn't believe it.
Not yet.
Days turned into weeks. Marcus never pressed him, but he found ways to help anyway. Small things at first: tidying the galley, scrubbing equipment, mending torn fabric with his good hand. He wanted to repay the man, though he knew it could never balance the scale. One evening, Marcus returned from a trade run to find the galley filled with the smell of roasted herbs. Kalen stood awkwardly by the stove, his lame arms strapped tight, his good hand stirring a pot. "You cook?" Marcus asked, surprised. Kalen lowered his gaze. "It was my duty once. Before the war. Before," his voice faltered. "Before I was broken." Marcus tasted the stew. His eyes widened. "This is incredible." Kalen felt something stir in his chest, a flicker of pride long buried. Trust grew, fragile but steady. Marcus taught Kalen how to navigate the stars, how to repair basic systems, how to wield tools instead of chains. He never mocked Kalen's limp or blindness. He never called him useless. "You see the world different," Marcus said one night as they studied a star map. "That's not weakness. That's strength." Kalen shook his head. "You speak as if I matter." "You do." Marcus's voice was firm. "I don't care what those slavers said. You matter." The first time Kalen laughed, it startled them both. They were hauling cargo on a dusty frontier world when a group of children gathered around, pointing at Marcus's awkward attempt to lift a crate. "You look like a bent-legged droll," one boy shouted. Marcus scowled, feigning injury. "A droll? Really?" The children burst into giggles. And then Kalen laughed too, rough, broken, but real. Marcus froze, then grinned. "There it is." Kalen blinked, confused.
What?
"Your life," Marcus said softly. "It's coming back."
But not everyone saw it that way.
On Trelo Station, a group of merchants sneered when they saw Kalen limping behind Marcus. "Why keep dead weight?" one jeered. "You could have bought 3 strong ones instead." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Because I don't measure worth in muscles." "Then you're a fool." "Maybe," Marcus said, glancing at Kalen. "But he's my friend, and I don't abandon my friends." For the first time in years, Kalen stood taller. Months passed. Kalen's arm never healed. His eye remained clouded. He was still broken by most measures. But aboard the Odyssey's grace, he was not worthless. He was the one who made meals taste like home. The one who charted safe paths through asteroid belts. The one who kept Marcus laughing on long voyages. One night, as stars streamed past the viewport, Kalen whispered, "You saved me." Marcus shook his head.
"No.
I just gave you a chance. You saved yourself." Kalen thought about that for a long time. And for the first time, he believed it might be true. Years later, traders spoke of a human captain and his Arkini partner, the one everyone else had left behind. They said the broken slave became a navigator, a cook, a brother. They said the worthless had found worth beyond measure. And Kalen, watching the stars, knew the truth. All the slaves had been auctioned. He alone had been left behind. But a human had bought him. Not because he was useful. Not because he was strong. But because he was worth saving. And that had changed everything.